It's more than 1 year into the pandemic, and we are only scratching the surface of its economic devastation, particularly on the African American community. Our next guest says Black Americans have been facing economic inequality long before COVID-19 struck, and much of it has to do with the American taxation system. Professor at Emory University School of Law, Dorothy Brown joins us now. She's the author of the new book, The Whiteness of Wealth: How the Tax System Impoverishes Black Americans and How We Can Fix It. Also with us, author and economic policy analyst Heather McGhee. Her latest book, The Sum of Us: What Racism Costs Everyone and How We Can Prosper Together. Jonathan Lemire and Aaron Haynes are back with us as well. Dorothy, in your book, you write this: it's long been understood that blacks and whites live in separate and unequal worlds that shape whom we marry, where we buy a home, whom we have as neighbors, and how we build a future for our children. Race affects where we go to college and how we pay for it. Race influences where we work and how much we are paid. What my research showed was that all of this also determines how much we pay in taxes. Taxpayers bring their racial identities to their tax returns. As in so many parts of American life, being black is more likely to hurt and being white is more likely to help. The implications of this go far beyond the forms you file every April. So if you could take us a step further into that notion, is it the reality of Black American life that then puts them in tax categories that appear to be racist or work against Black Americans, or is there something different at play?
What's at play is tax policy is built around white American behavior. And Black Americans in a society where we face systemic racism, we get disadvantaged. So let me take home ownership as an example. Any tax subsidy for home ownership is going to benefit most homeowners who are disproportionately white. We have fewer Black homeowners, so that's one point. But a bigger point is how white Americans experience home ownership is what tax policy subsidizes, not how Black homeowners experience home ownership. So what my research showed is when Black and white Americans did the same thing, got married, bought a home, tax policy choices advantaged how white Americans were homeowners or how white Americans were married versus how Black Americans experienced homeownership and marriage.
So, okay, in your book, you discuss why being married while Black hurts when filing taxes and how that impacted you growing up. And in one part, you say, when I saw that my parents' two incomes added up to a higher tax bill than had they remained single and filed individually, I started to question the conventional wisdom and found that while in theory the provision should affect everyone equally regardless of race, in practice it has a disproportionately detrimental impact on Black couples. How a tax provision used by almost all married couples, the joint return, came to harm Black families and their ability to build intergenerational wealth tells us much about American tax policy, its history, and its intentions. Let's focus on those last two words. What were its intentions?
Its intentions were to benefit single wage earner white households, where the husband worked in the paid labor market and the wife was a stay-at-home spouse. That household got a tax cut because of the joint return. Black Americans have never done marriage like that. Black Americans, like my parents, my mother was a nurse, my father was a plumber, they needed two full-time incomes to make ends meet. The tax cut from the joint return was never designed with them in mind. And what my research showed is Black couples are more likely to have two equal wage earners, and white couples are more likely to have a stay-at-home spouse and another spouse who works in the paid labor market.
Heather McGhee, why don't you jump in? You write about racial disparities, and this is really, I know, something that must really strike home for you.
I was so eager to get Professor Brown's book. I asked my publisher for an advance copy. It's really an important addition to the literature, and I think it should serve as a guidebook as the Biden administration does what it said it was going to set out to do, to look at where systemic racism is showing up in hidden ways across the federal government policies. This issue of wealth, which Professor Brown really zeroes in on, is where history shows up in your wallet. It's what I talk about in my book, The Sum of Us, as the legacy of compound interest on decisions made often long before we were born that results in such things as a Black college graduate household having less wealth on average than a white high school dropout household. When you hear figures like that, you realize that we have a long way to go to come together as a people and make sure that we, what I call in The Sum of Us, refill the pool of public goods for everyone. Recognize that this turn away for the past 50 years, away from the proper role of government helping to do its job to help our people, to make sure that our people, all of our people, have a decent standard of living, has been something that has been a big factor in the racial divide. It's something that has been driven by racial resentment politics, by an anti-government sort of racial turning away explicitly by the majority of white Americans from the social contract, the idea that, yes, we do all help each other. There is such a thing as society. We do need each other to level the playing field and make opportunity for everyone.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.